Sex was considered to be a spiritual activity, combining two energies, that feminine and masculine energy. And it was considered to be, sex was considered to be a gateway to spiritual, uh, spiritual enlightening. It was the
When did
next
that
best.
change?
That changed when we stopped connecting spirituality with our physical body. See, when we separated physical or from the spiritual, then sex just became a physical thing. It used to be physical and spiritual. It wasn't about having a climax. It was about connecting two energies to create something more beautiful. Just like what sex is. Two people get together and they bear fruit. Okay, that's what the problem. And so that was to be to create this spiritual experience between two people, two becoming one. See, that's a miracle. When you're married, you say two become one, and that sexual experience was allowing you to experience being oneness. And that's what, when I get into spirituality, is always talking about oneness, being connected to that one source. So it was a spiritual experience. And if you look at all ancient philosophies, Taoism, Kabbalah, Kemetic spirituality, it was a spiritual. In Africa, they used to pray before having sex, and what they would pray for is that if an offspring was produced, that God would bless them and would protect that offspring and would bring them a healthy offspring. So it was always that they were thinking that, hey, look, we might bear fruit from this experience, and we need to make sure that we have good fruit, that we create good fruit.
So you're telling us not what they're thinking nowadays.
I know, and that's why we have such a problem with sex, is that we think it's only a physical thing, and so it doesn't bring that connection that it should. Now, when two people are connected spiritually, and they have sex, or they're connected spiritually, sex is beautiful. They don't have this because they're so connected that they understand each other. They realize, hey, this is not the time. This is not this. I need something else. I need to do something else to make my partner feel whole again. It's not about us having sex. It's other things. What can I do for her to support her? But yeah, when Descartes, and I talked about this in one of my first podcasts, back in the 1600s, says, hey, we're going to let the church deal with the spiritual part, and then we're going to let science deal with the physical part. And here's what the church did with sex. It made it where it was shameful. Okay, is that you had to, it was a taboo. You didn't talk about it. You didn't say anything about it. They made it where it was some type of, evil thing in order to, having sex. And so it made it where it was a whole different connotation around sex. It wasn't something sacred. It's not anything spiritual anymore. But I'm going to tell you, if you can get to that point, it is a beautiful thing. And I will tell you is that it took me and my wife a long time to get to that point, to get to that realization. And you say, and this is what I'll tell you, since I've made this transformation, me and my wife have the best relationship we've ever had. This last year, after 39 years, I'm understanding this. I'm telling you things. Now, I knew about the men have sex to relax and women have to be relaxed to have sex. But to talk about the spiritual component of it and how these ancient traditions have gotten pushed to the past, this is why I call this the ageless blueprint. We are not the smartest people who've ever lived on this planet. We are not the most connected people who have lived on this planet. ancient civilizations, they had knowledge that we have discarded. Wars and when a lot of the invaders came to Africa and other places, they totally destroyed these traditions and these cultures, and thinking that they were outdated and they were pagan or whatever. No, it was understanding how nature works. That they looked at spirituality as a science. They looked at women like the moon, men are like the sun, and they related everything. They had scientific formulas that taught them how nature works, how universal laws work. All of this was destroyed because we think we're so smart and modern. And look at the chaos we're in. And we think that we're more advanced. I don't know. All right, that's just my point of view. So anyway, join our Ageless Blueprint community. Okay, you can start off with our free hormone clarity course to understand the unique hormonal patterns between women and men. So you say, well, you're the hormone doctor, you're the spiritual MD. What are you? This is how I look at it. You cannot get your mind right if your hormones are out of whack. Okay, so first we get your hormones right. Then we talk about meditation and mindset. All right. Then you graduate to the spiritual part, because it's hard to think about spirituality when your hormones are, when you're fatigued, when you don't feel good, when you're irritable, when you're having mood swings. You can't advance. You can't look any deeper. You're in that survival. You're like, but I feel bad. I'm trying to survive. I can't think about changing, my subconscious mind or my unconscious. I can't think about that. So that's why I say I'm the hormone doctor. Then we're going to move into changing your mindset. How do you think about yourself, and how do you think about the outer world? Then we can talk about spiritual matters. Then we can go and try and get to our